Hi friends, Shashwat here, day 6 of my lockdown diaries. These are my attempts to document my experiences and thoughts as we pass through this testy period of quarantine days in India. Yeah, so the news, it's as grim as ever. This is what we had been worrying and talking about all the time. All the experts forget me. All the experts have been talking about this scenario where the numbers will dramatically increase, and we are seeing those kind of increases right now. So the numbers as we speak, they have crossed 2,500, and these numbers present a very bleak thing, because now we know that the community spread is happening. It's no longer limited to all the people who are coming from all these countries. It's spreading from one to another, and this is the period that we need to take maximum care, and this is the period where things could change dramatically. So I'll give you an example. All this while on the job, John Hopkins tracker, if there's a very amazing tracker which tracks the number of cases, active cases globally. So on the tracker, India was amongst all the countries that have been infected by the epidemic. India was pretty low in terms of the active cases, and they're very low in the order. So that had been the case for much of March. But over the past couple of days, that India is moving steadily up. So right now it's on the 32nd or 33rd position, if I'm not wrong. Pakistan had, they had more cases than India, but now India has overtaken Pakistan. Right now we are just behind Japan, and this is very crucial, because if you see, Pakistan went through a very strange period where Prime Minister Imran Khan was vacillating on what the steps he should be taking. So at one point in time, they were talking about lockdown, but they were not implementing it, and they have been worrying. So the thing in Pakistan has been pretty dicey. Interestingly, all their news channels, they don't cover Indian lockdown. I think so, out of some sense, they don't want to give the people, are there any ideas on how the lockdowns could work, or they have blanketed out the news about lockdowns in India. So that has been the case in India. In India now, as we proceed, we have to buckle up for the kind of things that we are going to see. Our biggest worry right now is Dharavi. So Dharavi is a place in Mumbai, slum colony, which is Asia's largest slum colony. So you have a cluster of over 1 million people who live in a densely populated place spread over just a couple of kilometers. It has a population density of over 2 lakh people per kilometer. That's one of the highest in the world. And now we are seeing cases emerging out of that thing. The big worry is, what happens if this explodes. It can go very worse, because it can easily succumb all the things. The people, Dharavi, if you recall, is the area where it was made famous by the film Slumdog Millionaire. It is also the area where you have all these, manufacturing facilities of all the Gucci and the Zara bags that you find in Indian marketplaces. It's also the place where that group, We Unbeatables, had come. The one that won the America's Got Talent this season. Yeah, so it's a very intermixed, densely populated place where people live in close quarters. So one house is almost encroaching on the other. They have common toilets, or at times no toilets at all. So if this thing explodes out there, it could have grave consequences for all of us. So the administration has got into the act. They are completely sanitizing this thing. You have medical professionals walking in. They are contact tracing all the people that have been infected, quarantining, sealing the places. And recently the Mumbai police also announced, the BMC announced containment zones, 145 containment zones, where the whole area would be cordoned off, and strictly manned by the police, and they will enforce no entry and exit into those quarters. So the police has got very stringent. There have been talk about how violators should be penalized, they should be jailed, and how there have been things about lathi charging and all these things, and it kind of brings us to very interesting, that's the news per se, but I have a different take to this thing. So if you see, we are moving into a stage where the onus of the epidemic will be shifting now. So if you recall the disease, the COVID epidemic, or the influenza disease, or howsoever you refer to it, has been brought into India by the rich folks. All these people who have been traveling all across the world, in Lombardy, in Rome, in Spain, in Singapore, wherever they had been partying, holidaying, traveling for work or whatsoever, they came to India. They failed to follow the guidelines, they failed to declare their thing, they failed to quarantine themselves. They were roaming around with impunity, they were spreading the virus, and they were doing all sorts of things, and they kind of got away. Now once the whole thing, the poor people start, the administration, everyone comes down heavily on them. Now it will be the poor people who will be blamed for all these frailties. It will be they who will be penalized, and it almost makes you think, if only the administration had acted as stringently, earlier with all these super flyers when they had come, all the Kanika Kapoors of the world and all these people who had come, right, and who were spreading this thing. If they had acted as stringently at that point in time, we would have a very different outcome today, right? But that's how things are. Frankly speaking, I have very mixed feeling when it comes to police, right? So we see on the internet, we see all these videos of policemen behaving roughly. They are hitting people, they are making them they're punishing people, they're making them turn into murgas, as we call it in India. They're doing all sort of things, and you see so many of videos out there. But on the contrary, if you look at the kind of efforts that they are taking, so I'll give you an example. What happened today was, while I was out today, I saw these policemen manning the outpost just outside Palava. So I thought I'll have a word with them. I went to them and I was speaking to them, and it was very nice conversation that we have. So the police were when they came to know that I'm just committed to talk, and they were very willing to talk it out to me. So yeah, and I saw some of these cases that we saw. So there were quite a few of those, whenever these two-wheelers were coming, the police would stop them. They would ask them the purpose. If they couldn't respond well, what the cops would do is they would pin their tires, and the air would they would take out air from the tires, right? And then these guys would be like, Sahab, what is this happening? And they would say, jao ab ghar jao, now you have learned a lesson, kind of a thing. And while I was standing there, and so while we could possibly feel, Are dekho, look what the police is doing, but I'll also give you the counterpoint. There was a man who was there. So when the police guys stopped, and I saw this firsthand, when the police stopped him, they asked him what he was doing. So he said, no, I needed medicine and I wanted to go there. And so the police checked him out. What was there in those packets? Bottles of liquor. So yeah, then they were like, okay, so he got a couple of swift blows of lathi on him. But yeah, that's kind of what is happening. Most of the people out there are not paying attention, and that's what the police guys are complaining. And what is the worst thing that I see? The worst thing that I see is they don't have personal protection equipment at them at all. So I asked the cops out there, have you been given all these things from them? So he just told me that at this police station they had sent a 5-liter can of sanitizer, and they were just making, you had to do it on yourself. So he told me that he's worried about his family back home, and he had personally bought that mask that he was wearing. And he had a hot lathi in his hand. And these were the senior police officers. These are the frontline people who are dealing day in, day out with the people, right? They are dealing with strangers. They are dealing with all sort of people. They are talking to them. They're trying to enforce the law. They are doing every bit out there, and yet they have not been. We are kind of subduing their efforts by not providing them the right kind of equipment. It's so unfair to them, right? They have their families, and all this, altruism that is there, I don't kind of subscribe to it. The reason these guys, the reason these doctors, the reason these police officers are doing all this is not out of their, some greater sense of saving. It's a job they're doing. They're almost forced to do this thing. If given a choice, I don't know how much, if you were to, really ask these doctors, if you were really to ask these police cops, right, how many of them would be willing to stand and risk their lives in the manner they are doing today? I'm sure you'd get a lot of negative answer, and yet they are there, yet they are doing it, and this is the sad part. And the administration is not doing sufficient, and this is not something that is kind of acceptable out there. We have seen the kind of impact this happened. You take the case of the NYPD, right, New York Police Department. Hundreds of officers have lost their lives. You see doctors dying everywhere. I wouldn't want something like this to happen in India. I don't want young medics. We have, even the figures that we have are so few doctors per thousand, and if a loss of life, these guys who have been saving life, and if they lose their life in the bargain, it would be such a sad moment, right? I wish we should be talking about that. These are the things that we should be talking about, not making issues out of it, but doing something about it. So the on the contrary, the cops were also nice, and they told me something. So he kind of forced me to have tea, which was being served by the people out there. He was telling me how the people are doing their bit. So there are people who are giving them bottled water. There are people who are giving them bottles of sanitizers. There are people who are giving them, food and snacks and all that stuff. So the guy who was serving us tea was one of those who was serving, tea for the cops. And, so he was kind of, while the administration has let them down, the people have come together, and he was kind of optimistic about it. And this is what little bit of hope it gives me. And I would request, whosoever is seeing that, if you see a cop and you've got something extra on your part, you've got extra bottle of sanitizer, if you can get together as a group, possibly help them out. And they are the caretakers. They're at the front line, and if we could do something about them, it would be really nice, and it would make them happy as well. I could sense that thing. We belabor them all the time, but they are the ones who are kind of the reason why the numbers we are living a protected life right now. Today we also had the case where there was an address to the nation by Modi ji, where he came and he asked, he kind of gave us a task of standing for 9 minutes on the 5th of April at 9 p.m. and with a candle, torch, or even the mobile battery torchlight that we have, and show our solidarity to each other. So the kind of he was talking about Jan Shakti, and how we need to, at these tragic moments, we need to bond together, we need to come together, we shouldn't be feeling lonely. And yes, there are a lot of interesting takes on that. I was seeing a lot of memes out there on thing. There were a lot of jokes being made about it. There were a lot of comparisons being made. And yes, so all I can say is to each his own kind of a thing. If we can interpret it in very many ways. On the positive side, you have the fact that at least he's trying to bring us together in that thing. He's giving us he's trying his best to the cause is noble. But on the other hand, I also feel very strongly that as my expectation as a Prime Minister is that I need something concrete from him now. At these times, as a nation, we need some concrete answers. We need some concrete ideas about how long this is gonna last. We need him to tell us somehow that okay, this is the light at the end of the tunnel. This is how it's gonna be. This is how the transition is gonna happen. This is what will happen. This is what we are doing on the testing kits. Don't worry, everything is getting fine. We have got all these ventilators coming in, and all this is how. So those are the kind of things that I want to hear right now. Those are the things I would be very happy if the Prime Minister was to address that. every time it should not be only an emotional appeal, emotional, sentimental. While that's important, I won't say that that's not important. That there is a role of that as well. But beyond that, we also need to have those concrete answers. What are we doing as a nation on all these fronts? The whole scenario that right now looks grim. He standing there out there at the at the towering position. We expect him to show us light on how the future will unfold. So that is my expectation. If you see, there's a lot of excitement going on in the PM Cares fund, and you have a lot of these donations coming in from all the corporates. Numerous celebrities have also done. Akshay Kumar has given 25 crores and all these things. But frankly, how does that fund really matter, and how? I'll give you a reasoning for it. India is the third largest economy in purchasing parity, right? The fifth largest in terms of GDP. The government doesn't need fund to do the right things. We are not in a scenario of tsunami, earthquake, floods, where we have to buy all these relief and send them to things. The healthcare sector needs to be strengthened, but that's something the government needs to be doing. I don't think so. They need our money to be doing it. It's not as if in the PMO office there will be all these people who would be sitting there and making purchases on Amazon. Okay, let's buy all these medical equipment. It's not that way. There are no houses that need to be built. There are no bridges that need to be built. It's about something else, and the Prime Minister Relief Fund already had sufficient money in that regard. So all this, it almost seems like a forgive me, a PR exercise, right? I'm seeing a lot of corporates that are donating funds. There are a lot of individuals who are being, even Shah Rukh Khan came out with a big rejoinder of how he's donating something to the and all these stars in the south and Maharashtra and everywhere, even in Delhi, they have to manage it out, right? So they'll donate a major chunk to the PM relief to be on the good side of the central government, and they'll make donations on the state government side. So okay, they have to be okay as well. So if so that's how things are. It's more superficial right now. I am pretty sure once we are through this, there will be a cess introduced for all of us, and there will be the oil is at record low prices. It was at record low prices. All the government is mopping up the additional, though we wouldn't be using that much oil, but yet. So I don't think so. The issue is paucity of funds. The issue is much more bigger. It's much more how well are we using the resources that we have. How we need accountability. We need some sort of a stringent application. So I'll give you an example. All the countries right now have stopped exporting medical equipment. US has banned it. All major countries have banned it, except possibly for China. China is very eager to sell their fall tickets to everywhere. So they did it with Spain. They have been offering it continuously, and I strongly feel that we shouldn't be doing going with what they are selling us, peddling to us. But yeah, so in all this thing, there was this news report where India had exported medical equipment to Serbia, while our doctors and medics don't have them. So it's not the issue of fund. It's more of an issue of how to get it right, how to get those mechanisms right, how to get all these ventilators, medical equipment, PPEs. Set up these hospitals. You have these railway coaches, which was a very interesting task that has been done. It's a very positive thing, and I was really impressed by the sudden explosion in number of all these quarantine quarters that are doing. The reports that have also come in from various quarters, the various personal experiences, if you see, they're pretty positive. It's not as dangerous and disaster prone as it was made out to be earlier. So yeah, so we need to have those kind of answers and kind of resolutions. So that's about it on a grim factor. On my personal thing, again, I'm enjoying my days with the kids, trying to make best of the time that we have. So there's an interesting thing that happened. Hotstar has come out, Hotstar and Disney Plus has come collaborated with Hotstar, and now the collection is available on the Hotstar app, and it's amazing. I really loved it. The kind of library of content that they have, Frozen, Toy Story, and all these National Geographic, and it's fabulous. I personally think now Netflix will have a real big task at their hand. They have a real challenger. Now we finally have someone to take on the might of Netflix in India. So that kind of takes care of a lot of my worries about finding the right thing to watch with the kids. Now thanks to Disney Plus, it's a very thing I should, they should also possibly pay me some money for plugging their name as well. So that's about it from my lockdown diary. So I will be taking a break for the weekend. I strongly feel that we should follow our cycles properly. I would advise you guys also to enjoy your weekend. Remember one thing: once you get back to your life, once you get back to your jobs, all the organizations are gonna make sure that all the lost days are covered in those ways. So you will have to say kiss goodbye to all your weekend. So you might as well make the best of what you have right now. Enjoy, take care, and do the best. I'll see you again on Monday. So till then, stay safe, stay indoors, and stay healthy. Bye bye.